is laminated. The armature of DC generator is laminated. For what? Why the armature of DC generator is laminated? Any guess? To reduce hysteresis loss, or to insulate the core, or to reduce eddy current loss, or provide air cooling passage. Why we have to laminate the armature of the DC generator? DC generator is laminated. Why? They are asking and they are given the choices. To reduce hysteresis, or insulate the core, or reduce eddy current loss, or to provide air cooling passage. Let's see the explanation. The answer is to reduce eddy current loss. The concept is very important. To reduce eddy current loss only, we are using, that is, this DC generator is laminated. The points are given. Why it's need? Why the armature must be laminated? Armature is nothing but, we all know that, rotating part of an electrical machine. Armature. It is also called as rotor. It is also called as rotor. Why is armature of DC generator must be laminated? Eddy current is form of power loss and magnetic loss. We know that eddy current is, what is eddy current? It is one form of losses. What losses? Power losses and magnetic losses. We all know that eddy current is one form of power loss or magnetic losses. Okay. Eddy current loss, what the eddy current loss will do? Eddy current loss will produce heat and decrease motor efficiency. Once the machine is suffered by eddy current loss, it will exhibit or giving away enormous heat and decrease motor efficiency. Eddy current loss is not good for motor efficiency. The eddy current losses are directly proportional to the area of the armature, or more precisely path of motion. Eddy current loss is directly proportional to the area of the armature. That is, the curved surface area is there, right? Or most precisely path of the motion. It is more precisely to the traveling path, the motion path. Consider an armature with a single piece of iron. For example, now we are going to explain why this must be laminated. When the diagram, see the diagram. This is a single piece of iron we have taken as an armature. In this case, the eddy current losses are represented by red lines. You can see the red lines are what? The red lines are eddy current losses. Now consider lamination armature. Complete the lamination is made up of 4 or 6 or even 8 segments lamination. For example, you can observe the red color lines are eddy current losses. These eddy current losses will decrease the efficiency of the machine. In order to avoid this eddy current loss and improve the efficiency, we must laminate. So we can see the below diagram, it is laminated. These laminations are insulated from each other. Even though we are laminating, each lamination must be insulated by each other by giving a varnish or mica or paper you can use as an insulating material. These individual thin pieces, that is this insulation you can see, right? This individual insulation will have a higher resistance and lesser area, so that maximum eddy current losses will be eliminated. Once the elimination is happen, what will happen? You can improve the efficiency. So according to the question, what is the question? Why the DC generator armature is laminated? Our answer is to reduce eddy current loss. Here I have explained what is eddy current, what are the methods to prevent eddy current, what are the methods to prevent eddy current losses, what are the methods to improve efficiency. Once you are clear in this concept, you can answer 2 or more questions. What is eddy current? What are the, how eddy current losses are minimized? How the efficiency can be improved? And all you can answer. Take a look for a while. Thinner the lamination, greater is the resistance offered to induce EMF. Therefore, smaller the current, hence lesser eddy current loss. This is the important point you must note. That's why the armature DC machine, either motor or generator, must be laminated. The only thing for the lamination main purpose is to eradicate eddy current loss to improve the efficiency. Once the eddy current loss is there, it will be shown in the form of heat. Much heat is not good for DC motor or generator. In that case, the machine will be weak, the efficiency will be poor. In order to avoid these things, it is understood that armature of the DC machine, either it must be motor or generator, it is laminated. It must be laminated. Let's move on to the second question. The commutator segments are connected to the armature conductor by means of, that is commutator. We all know that alternating current is converted to unidirectional. Alternating is converted to unidirectional is commutator purpose. What is the question they have asked? The commutator segments are connected to the armature conductor by means of what? Armature. From the armature, commutator is connected. We all know that. With the help of what it is connected? Copper. The options are copper lugs, insulation pads, resistant wire, brazing. What will be the answer? That is, you all know that from the commutator, from the armature conductor, the commutators are connected. How? By means of what? Copper, lugs, insulation pad, resistant wire, brazing. Any guess you can answer, or else I'll show the explanations for your reference. Yes, the answer is copper lugs. What is meant by copper lugs? The picture is given here. This is called a copper lugs. It looks like a lock in the door. It looks like a lock in the door. Copper lugs or copper cable lugs are provided to electrical connection between power source to other power cables. Between power source to other power cables. They are connected to other power electrical equipment such as fuse blocks, starter, etc. These copper lugs we can observe in fuse blocks, starter and other power electrical equipments also. Why we are using, instead of all these things, all these options, why we are particularly using copper lugs to connect armature conductors to the commutator? That is given below. They are connected to other power electrical equipment such as fuse blocks, starter, etc. Copper lugs are highly conductive and can carry high current, because that power delivered must be given out to the applications. We all know that. In that case, the highly efficient person must be an agent from the armature to the application. In this consideration, copper lugs is a good agent, that is good medium to get the power delivered from the armature and can get and give it to application. So copper lugs are highly conductive, can carry high current. Copper lugs are highly conductive and carry high currents. You can observe in this diagram where the copper lugs. You can see the inner parts are, you can see copper lugs here. That is, armature is connected via copper lugs to the commutator. Because of it is highly conductive and carry high current. Okay. These copper lugs, because of high conducting property and carry high current property, it is used in connection between commutator and armature. Therefore, commutator segment is connected to armature conductor by a means of copper lugs as shown in the above figure. It must be clear now. You can observe the diagram for some time. Let's move on to the third question. In DC generator, the pole shoes are fastened to the pole core by, that is, in DC generator, the pole shoes, they are asking the pole shoes are fastened to the pole core by rivets, resistant wire, copper lugs, counter sunk screw. What will be the option? The question is in DC generator. You know what is pole core, pole shoe, and pole neck. In pole shoes are fastened. Pole shoes must be fastened for the further EMF production. So pole shoes are fastened to the pole core by rivets, resistant wire, copper lugs, or counter sunk screw. Which of this will be helpful to fasten the pole core? Let me show the explanation and I'll explain. Counter sunk screw. For each and every type of these question, I have given diagrams also. Previous one also have given diagrams. Here, counter sunk screw. This is a counter sunk screw diagram. A counter sunk screw is a screw that is sunk into a pieces of material. Sunk means it is embedded. It is inside. It is sunk into a piece of material. It makes a very strong tight joint and is used in places where another joinery is not practical. That is, it is made up of very tight, strong, and it does not allow any other joining in that. Any other joining is not allowed in that. Like that, it is arranged in such a manner. You can see this is a counter sunk screw. You can see the two dots. It will have a bolt and screw format. You can bolt and screw it easily. This is the diagram. Okay, let's see the explanation why counter screws are used in DC generator pole shoes. How to fasten the pole shoes. The pole core itself may be a solid piece. Pole core, we all know that. Pole core must be solid piece made out of either cast iron or cast steel. But the the pole shoe is laminated and is fastened to the pole face by means of counter sunk screws. So counter sunk screw will be very good material or a small device like structure to enhance or fasten the pole shoes. Next question. Bearings. Bearings are very important for the smooth movement of the motor or generator. The bearing used to support the rotor shaft. The bearings used to support the rotor shaft are generally ball bearing or magnetic bearing or bush bearing or none of the above. It will be little bit confusion what bearing will be because all are bearing. A ball bearing, magnetic bearing, bush bearing, none of the above. We'll see it as ball bearing. Ball bearing, you can observe in the cycle also. Right? Similar to that, the same type of bearing, we have to concentrate on your working. Generator use coils of wire which rotate through a magnetic field to create voltage, which pushes the current through the wires, thus creating heat. Generator use coils of wire which rotate through a magnetic field to create voltage, which pushes the current through the wire, thus creating a heat. Why instead of magnetic bearing, bush bearings, we are using ball bearings? Because these bearings are used to reduce frictional losses. Magnetic and all fluxes will be involved, flux losses will be there. So it is not good one for the DC generator. Let's take a while to observe this. I'll explain. Instead of magnetic bearing, the bush bearing, we are using ball bearings to reduce the frictional losses, ensure the smooth running of the rotor, because these will be helpful for smooth running. All the other will have the external losses, some extra losses that is not good for the DC generator or DC motor. That is, you can have a note For small machine, ball bearing is used. For larger machine or heavy duty DC generator, roller bearings are used. Roller bearings are a little bit different from ball bearings. You can expect these types of MCQ questions in GATE. For small machine, ball bearings are used. For larger machine, heavy duty or DC generator, roller bearings are used. Next question. In lap winding, the number of brushes is always, it is easy. We all know that there are two types of winding, lap winding and wave winding. Am I right? So lap winding, I'll say a clue. Lap, L-A-P, A is equal to P. L-A-P, A is equal to P. So that will be a clue. That is, what is the number of pole? That will be number of armature conductors. Here what they are asking, the number of brushes they are asking. They are not asking about A or P denominations. They are asking number of brushes is always double the number of poles, same as number of poles of the number of poles or multiple of number of poles. We have to see the explanation for this. Same as number of poles. That is A is equal to P. The same explanation what I said they have taken for the brushes also. Lap winding, number of parallel path A is always equal to the number of poles and also the number of brushes. The number of parallel path in DC machine depends on types of armature winding used. There are two types of winding, lap winding and wave winding. Lap winding, they have shown the picture. Look at it, because lap winding will be like this. Wave winding is little bit different from these things. You can see the connections of lap winding. Due to such connections, the total number of conductor get divided into P, number of parallel path, where P is equal to number of poles. A large number of parallel paths indicate high current carrying capacity of the machine. Hence, a lap windings preferred for high current rating generator. Lap windings are used for high current rating generator. This will be an important question. Question itself, we will get so many subordinate questions. High current rating generator, we are using lap winding. Let's move on. If you are clear, we can move on to the next question. In case of wave wound generator, the average pitches. For example, next they move on to, instead of lap, they have move on to wave winding. In case of wave wound generator, the average pitch, the pitch will be there, right? The average pitch is what? Must be odd, maybe odd or even, must be even, none of the above. What will be the option? Any guess? What it will be? In case of wave wound generator, the average pitches must be odd, maybe odd or even, must be even, none of the above. Let's see the explanation. Maybe, odd and even. We have given the explanation below. Average pitch YA is equal to YB plus YF by 2. Z plus or minus 2 by P. You can see plus or minus in any equation, mathematical expression, plus or minus is come. It means the answer will be either plus or minus. So it is quite understood that it will be odd or even. They have given the notation explanation. YV means back pitch, YF means front pitch, Z is equal to number of conductor. Average pitch must be an integer, which may be odd or even, but it should not be in a fraction in case. It should not be in a fraction. That is, for example, it must be not be in fraction. It must not be in x by y like that. Okay, let's move on to the next question. The material for commutator brushes is generally, material will be made up of what type of, already we said commutator must be highly conductive, because it is the one which transferring the power to the applications. The material of the commutator brushes is generally mica, cast iron, copper or carbon. What will be the option? Let's see the explanation. Carbon. We all guess that it must be a copper. Comparing to copper, carbon will be the suitable material for brushes, commutator brushes, carbon brushes. That's why it is called as carbon brushes. Explanation they have given. Why especially we are using carbon? They have given the explanation. A commutator is a moving part, rotatory electrical switch in certain types of electrical motors. We all know that. Two or more electrical contacts are called brushes. Made of soft conductive material like carbon. The brushes are pressed against the commutator, making sliding contact with successive segments of the commutator. This all, you should not remember all these points. It must be why the carbon is having high melting point compared with other conductor. That's why we are using the brush contact material as carbon. Look for a while all the explanations. Any doubt you could ask me. Okay, let's move on to the next question. For generating large current on DC generator, which winding is generally preferred? For generating large currents on DC generator, which winding is generally preferred? What kind of winding is generally preferred? Any guess? Any guess? Progressive wave winding is suitable, or lap winding is suitable? Retrogressive lap winding, current depends on design, which will be suitable? We'll see the explanation. Lap winding. For this, we'll refer the question number 5, because the question number 5 is lap winding questions. A large number of parallel paths indicates high current carrying capacity of the machine. Hence, the lap winding is preferred for high current rating generator. The same explanation what we have seen in the lap winding, the same thing only. That is, a large number of parallel paths indicate high current carrying capacity of the machine, and the lap winding is preferred for high current rating generators. For this, we can refer the questions again in question number 5. The question number 5 is explanation for lap winding. Yes, right? This link I'll provide you for the better understanding. If you are okay, we can move on to the next question. The insulating material used for the commutator segment. The insulating material, what type of insulating material we are using as a commutator segments? Graphite, carbon, mica, or insulating varnish. For brushes, we saw it as carbon. For commutator segments, what type of things will be taken? Graphite, carbon, mica, insulating varnish. Which will be good? Let's see the explanation. Mica. We all thought that it will be again a carbon. No, it is mica. Why? Commutator consists of set of contact bars fixed to the rotating shaft of a machine and connected to armature windings. Okay, so that as a shaft rotates, the commutator reverses the flow of current in a winding. We all know that commutator reverses the flow of current in a winding. Mica is useful for its unique electrical and thermal properties and its mechanical property. Yes, mica, insulating materials, we know mica, paper are good insulating material. Mica is useful for its unique electrical and thermal properties and its mechanical property. That's why mica is used as a commutator segment purpose. Mica is a good electrical insulator, because proper insulation must be done between the segments of commutator at the same time as being a good thermal conductor. Thermal conductor means it will bear the heat also. It's not only behaving as a insulator, it also behaving as a good thermal conductor. Therefore, Mica is used as an insulating material for commutator. Hope it will be clear. Why we are using mica? Not the same property for all the other thing also. If they are asking why mica is considered as a good insulating material, we can answer the same thing for all the other thing also. Not only for DC generator, DC motor or any other electrical equipment, mica will be a good insulating material. Look for a while, we can take to next question. We used to provide a dummy coils in generator. We know that is a dummy coil, but have you ever thought what is the purpose of dummy coils in a generator? What is the use of dummy coils in a generator? To provide mechanical balance for the rotor, to reduce eddy current loss, to reduce hysteresis loss, to increase efficiency of generator. What will be that? Any guess? Why we are using dummy coil? I'll show the explanation. To provide mechanical balance for the rotor. Yes, because mechanical balance is highly needed in the rotor side, because without the mechanical balance, the rotor will undergo a right path rotation, undergoing not a right path rotation. So, dummy coil is used with the wave winding when the requirement of the winding is not met by the standard armature. For example, it need a standard armature, but the original winding is not providing that. In that case, this dummy coil will compensate them. Dummy coil is not connected to the commutator, so they do not influence the electrical characteristics of the winding. Yes. For example, in chemistry, we use catalyst. Catalyst is used only to speed up the process. It is no way helpful or no way interrupt the process. Like that, dummy coil is not connected to the commutator. Once it is connected to commutator only, it will involve in the applications also, but it is not involved. So they do not influence the electrical characteristics of the winding. Dummy coil ends are cut short and taped because it should not connected with the commutator, right? So it must be cut short and taped. Their main use is to provide mechanical balance of the rotor, because rotor having some slots without the winding would be out of balance mechanically. Only for the mechanical support they are used, because it's already cut short and taped. It is no way connected to commutator, so it is not involving in any of the electrical operations. You must know what is a dummy coil, what is the purpose of dummy coil also. This question also you can expect in the GATE question. I'll show you. In DC generator, the cause of brush wear may be, we all talking about the commutator brush. Now we have to concentrate the brush wear. What are the brush wear may be? DC generator, the cause of brush wear may be. Why? In DC generator, the cause of brush wear may be. The options are rough commutator surface, imperfect contacts, server sparking, any of the above. What will be the answer? Let's see the explanation. Any of the above, because DC generator cause the brush is getting wasted. Here means destroy or decaying, like that. What is the reason? Rough commutator surface, imperfect contact, server sparking, any of the above. All these options are responsible for the brush wear. Brush wear can occur due to many reasons, such as server sparking, sorry, excessive heat, imperfect contacts, etc. Therefore, brushes require periodic maintenance. So answer will be any of the above. Next question. When the number of poles and number of armature conductor are fixed in the DC generator, then which winding will give higher EMF? Look a while, I'll explain. Okay, the explanations will be the wave winding. Why we are using wave winding? As we know that EMF equation of a DC generator, E is equal to flux is at 1060 into P by A volts. We all know that this is the EMF equation of a DC generator. Lap bound generator, we are generally using A is equal to P. A means number of parallel paths. P is equal to number of poles. Therefore, in lap bound DC generator, they cancelled each other. For wave wound generator, A is equal to 2. Therefore, the EMF is great in wave wound DC generator than the lap bound. Because of the cancellation, we'll get the wave wound is the highest EMF. What the question is asked? When the number of poles and number of armature are fixed in DC generator, then which winding will be have higher EMF? Always the wave, because A is equal to 2. Lap, L, that is lap, A is equal to P. In that case, it will have the cancellation. When you apply with a EMF equation, it will go for the cancellation. So it is not applicable. So highest EMF will be wave wound. Next one. If V is the flux density, L is the length, and V be the velocity of the conductor, then induced EMF is given by what will be the equation? BLV. Always we know that BLV. Explanation I will shown with the diagram. You can observe the diagram. The area swept by conductor in 1 second is equal to LV. The flux cut by the conductor in 1 second is equal to BLV. Then the EMF induced in straight conductor of length L moving with velocity V is perpendicular to a magnetic field B is BLV, where B, L, V are mutually perpendicular to each other. So that what will happen? The equation is BLV. In case of 4-pole DC generator provided with 2 layer of lap binding with 16 coils, the pole pitch will be. The next question is, in case you are having 4-pole DC generator provided with a 2 layer of lap binding with 16 coils, the pole pitch will be 32, 16, 8 or 4. What will be the pole pitch? We will see the explanation. 8. Why? Why we are having 8? Since the winding in 2 layer, therefore the total number of conductor is 16 into 2. Because the layer of winding are 2, so 16 into 2 is equal to 32. Pole pitch of DC generator is a ratio. We know that total number of conductor to the total number of poles. Sorry, number of poles. Total number of conductor to the number of poles. So 32 by how many poles are there? 4 poles. It is obviously 8. It is obviously 32 by 4 is 8. Next question. For anything, the previous question for anything, if it is a 6-pole or 8-pole machine, you have to concentrate the total number of conductor divided by number of poles. So you will get the answers. In DC generator, lamination core materials are generally made up of what? Again and again, these types of constructing materials are very important. You must have a commutator is what it is made up of, brushes what it is made up of, armature what it is made up of, like that. DC generator lamination core. Core is outer one. Yoke what it is made up of? Silicon steel. Why? Instead of cast iron, carbon, stainless steel, we are using silicon steel because eddy current losses can be reduced by using laminated core. Eddy current losses can be reduced by using laminated core. But hysteresis losses cannot be reduced in this way because core get affected by hysteresis losses. So this be eradicated. But you have to be aware which material is used to eradicate these losses. For reducing hysteresis losses, those metal are chosen for the armature core which has low hysteresis coefficient. To reduce the hysteresis loss, we must be aware about what type of material is chosen to eradicate this hysteresis coefficient. Therefore, silicon steel such as Stalloys is used. The name is Stalloys. That steel alloy is used for armature core. The Stalloy not only you have hysteresis coefficient but also possess high electric resistivity. So we are using silicon steel for the lamination of the core materials. So far, any doubt you could ask me.
Hello friends, welcome to Engineering Tutor.
In between, if you don't have any doubt, let's see the construction of DC generator for a clear understanding to answer the MCQs. Let's start.
Tutorial. So we'll continue our discussion with the electrical machines, the DC generate for simple loop generator, the operating principle, and various mathematical equations related to linear DC machine. So in this video, we are going to focus on the constructional features of a DC generator. Now, as I said, that when a electrical machine is assembled, it is not known to the manufacturer whether it is going to be, to the person who assembles all the parts. It is not fixed that it will be used as a motor or a generator. If we reverse one, it becomes the other. Okay, electrical to mechanical is motor, mechanical to electrical generator. So it is reversible. So both motor and generator will have the same constructional features. So the various important parts of the electrical machine here for the DC machine, be it motor or generator, it consists of 5 main parts. First, the field system, which provides the uniform magnetic field. Then armature.
If you understand these constructional features, it will be more clear to answer the MCQ because they have clearly explained what is a field system, armature winding, brushes, commutator. So far, the same questions we have discussed. Here, they'll explain what is the constructional features, what it is made up of also. Obviously, we'll get 2 or 3 questions from this area. Let's continue the video.
Armature core and armature winding. these two are combined together, and it is generally the movable or rotating part of the machine which rotates the uniform constant magnetic field. This system, it is the stationary field rotating armature type. Okay, the other one is rotating field stationary armature type. We'll discuss about that later, but here it would be stationary field. The field system would be stationary. The armature system, core and winding combined, will be movable or rotating. Then we have the commutator and brushes. We have discussed a separate video related to that. The commutator and brushes, the basic, the need of commutator and brushes. So basically, they act as a mechanical rectifier which converts the AC voltage developed in the loop to DC. So now let us discuss them one by one along with their diagrams. Okay, so the field system. So as I said, the function of the field system is to produce a constant uniform magnetic field in which the armature rotates. So here Fleming's rule comes into play. When a conductor rotates in a magnetic field, a voltage, the current flows through it. As a result of that, a EMF is induced because of it cuts the magnetic flux. So both Faraday and Fleming's rule come into play here. So in case of this DC machine, here the DC generator, the field system, it consists of a circular frame. That circular frame is called as yoke. Okay, and in that circular frame we have even number of poles bolted to it. So the field system, it looks something like this. Okay, we have the circular frame which is called as yoke. On this frame we have these poles bolted on it. Okay, now the circular frame yoke is made up of solid cast steel, and the poles are made up of laminated iron pieces which are placed or stacked one above the other. Okay, and around these poles the field windings are moved all around them. Okay, so these are the field windings, these are the poles, and this is the circular frame or yoke. Now you can see that the north and south poles are lying adjacent to each other. Okay, so this is the field system. So as I said, the poles have field coils wound around them. They carry the DC excitation current to bring the Fleming's rule into play. A current carrying conductor placed in that rule to apply. In order to generate the magnetic field, we have to pass a current through this field, these poles. So
We have discussed pole to pole MCQs also. So if you observe pole to pole and all, it will be easy for you to attend that type of questions.
that they can behave as electromagnets. Now this field system, it produces a constant magnetic field. Now DC current is passed because we want a constant magnetic field. If we pass AC current, it will be a fluctuating magnetic field because the amplitude of the AC, it varies. So these poles have field coils wound around them through which DC current is passed, so that these poles with field coils behave as electromagnets, providing a constant uniform magnetic field because of the DC current. In this magnetic field, the armature rotates. Now let us discuss about the armature. So the armature, it rotates between the field poles in the constant uniform magnetic field. Now This armature is basically connected to the shaft of the machine. So we'll see that in the diagram. So the armature, it is made up of soft iron laminations which are stacked to form a cylindrical structure. So the armature, it looks something like this. This is the top view. We'll also see the side view. So this is the top view of the DC machine. This is the armature, which consists of a cylindrical structure. It is because it is the top view, it looks something like this. Okay, the side view, it looks something like this. The armature is a cylindrical structure. This is the top view. It consists of various, you know, protrusions or tooths. Okay, and in between these tooths we have the slots into which the armature conductors are fit into it. They are fitted inside these slots. So this is the armature core. Into these slots the armature conductors are inserted. So these are the conductors. See, these are the conductors which are fitted inside these slots. Okay, these circular slots. So this is the top view, this is the side view. Okay, so the armature core is the rotating part of the movable part of the DC machine. It rotates in the fixed uniform magnetic field produced by the field system. This. Within this, the armature rotates. Okay, so the armature conductors are basically connected in a symmetric manner so that a closed loop is formed. We discussed the simple loop generator where we got the output DC voltage. So please watch that video so that you understand this in a better. So these armature windings or conductors, they are either connected in series or parallel. Series for an increase in voltage and parallel for increasing current. We'll discuss about them in detail in the upcoming videos. For now, you just understand these things. So we have covered the field system and the armature core and windings. This is the armature core with slots into which the armature conductors and windings are inserted, and it looks something like this. Now, commutator and brush. Now we have already discussed about commutator and brush, the working principle of that in a separate video. Still, let us repeat again quickly. So the commutator is basically a device which converts the alternating voltage generated in the loop to DC voltage. So basically it is a mechanical rectifier. So I have already posted a video related to commutator and brush, so you please check out that video. So the commutator, it consists of two cylindrical rings, half rings or split rings, which are separated by a coating of mica, and they also have two brushes attached with them. The cylindrical portion, these two segments are free to rotate, but these brushes, they are stationary. Okay, so see, they can rotate, but the brushes are stationary. The two rings, they can change their places. Here it is C1, C2, here it is C2, C1. Okay, same thing here. They are able to rotate, but this brush is fixed. Now again, I repeat, I have posted a video related to commutator and brush, the working principle and how it converts AC into DC. I have posted a separate video, so you please check out that video. Now, in the this assembly, with respect to this DC machine assembly, the commutator, it looks something like this. Okay, it consists of this a circular structure along with four brushes. Okay, so it is because four poles are involved. So with respect to that, we have four brushes also here. Now when all these parts, that is this field system, the circular frame and the poles, this armature core and windings which are fitted into these slots, and this commutator and brush arrangement, when they're combined together, it looks something like this. This is the circular frame, yoke, these are the four poles, the field windings, this is the armature core with the windings or conductors slotted in it, and then we have the commutator and brush arrangement. Okay, and this is the top view, this is the side view. Okay, this is the armature core and conductors, this is the commutator and brush arrangement, this is the shaft. Okay, this is the side view of the DC machine assembly. So again, I would request you to watch the previous videos.
From this, it will be clear about the construction, about the DC generator, and they have clearly said what is commutator, brushes, stator, rotor, everything. These things only we have discussed in this session. This will be more helpful for you to attend much more MCQs. If you have any doubt, you could ask me. If no doubt, we can end up the session and we will meet you in transformer session again. Hope you don't have any doubt. Yes. Thank you so much. We can end up the session now.